everybody. Welcome to CC's table. How's everybody this morning? Or morning, afternoon. How's everybody this afternoon, late evening for some of you, right? How's it going? How's you guys' day been going? You guys been having a great time? Huh? Did you have a great first of the week? I know we're on hump day. How is everybody doing? Huh? I want to welcome all my villagers. Hey, villagers, how you doing? What's going on? Huh? Make sure you guys get on Facebook. I want to see you guys do your thing. Give me your likes. Give me your hearts. Give me your thumbs up. What else? Uh, subscribe to YouTube for all my YouTubers. You guys get on there and subscribe. We're live there too, okay? So I want to see you guys live there. All right. I'm looking forward to today. Again, we're in the month of November. I hope you guys have got amazing plans for Thanksgiving. I hope you guys enjoyed October's focus on forgiveness, right? We was doing a lot of focus on forgiveness. So I want to make sure that we stay focused there. We're going to blend it this time. All right, guys, we're going to do a little blending. So today we're going to blend in forgiveness, right? With a little indecisiveness. Anybody suffering with forgiveness and indecisiveness? All right, that's what we are in for today. So if you guys know some folks, don't forget to share this. Share this because everybody can use it. Again, we're at CC's table. We're trying to break some things and open our hearts up to some new things, some new perspectives, right? Embrace, process, right? We want to do these things. So I truly want to get your input. I want to get your support, right? I want to know where your heart is. So let's really have a discussion about that. I want to get in here and see who's chatting with me, guys. I want to know who's all chatting with me. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Aisha. Yes, we are here at Cece's table. Whoop, whoop. Right? We're having a wonderful conversation today about being indecisive. Also, about being for struggling, not being struggling with areas of our self forgiveness when it comes to being indecisive. I put something out there on Facebook, just asking that question about having these struggles with being so indecisive that it provokes these feelings where self forgiveness is a challenge. You become this challenge because I might let people down, or am I letting people down, because I can't seem to make up my mind. I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to eat. I don't know where I want to go. I don't know if I should go up, if I should go down. My decision making is literally all over the place. And even in that, there's going to be some other questions. Michael's watching? What? What's up, Turk? So um, it's things that we really need to address. Now, the whole point, as I said before, with Cece's table was really for us to address some things that you don't get to address, whether in the church, because why? It's a set format. It's a set amount of time. And so at Cece's table, we get to talk about it. We get to hear other people's perspectives about it. We get to share some things that we ordinarily don't get to share. And then it helps us to break away from our own thinking. Anybody struggle with their own thinking and knowing that, hey, my own thinking is not always right, and it helps to be able to embrace what others might share and see, could this work for me? Could this really be something good for me? Maybe I should give that a try and not struggle all the time. Or maybe you need someone who is going to hold you accountable, like myself and my friend Aisha here on the line. Aisha and I, we have begun doing these things where we hold each other accountable. And accountability is a big deal because you can go rogue on your own all day long. It doesn't make it right, it doesn't make you right. But when we get a chance to really share this with somebody who's going to say, hey, girl, you know what? I struggle with that too. We shouldn't do that. That's not a good way of thinking. Or we need to break these habits. Now, that being said, let me look at some stuff that I found. Because when I do this, when I go into these topics with you all, I'm not just going off of, just life experiences. Yeah, life experiences are really great, um, and they do help quite a bit, especially if you're on the other side of it, right? But there's also these issues of, um, when you don't uh, when you're doing things like that, you want to be able to bounce things off or bounce ideas off. So um, getting research from psychologists, not just anybody's research, because, right, we can't take everybody's word. The Bible even tells you to be careful with that, right? Because there's people out there presenting false information that can mislead you, right? Here at CC's table, it's not a goal to mislead you. I'm a faith believer. If I have to throw out the word of God here and there to kind of keep us on track, yeah. If the villagers want to throw out the word, welcome to throwing out the word so that we can keep people on track, because the goal here is to heal. The goal here is to be transformed. The goal here is to be wholehearted about how we do life and how we live life, right? That's what we want. I know that's what I want. And I believe that's what provoked my heart when God opened this up to me. So I only want the best for you and for myself. All right. So indecisiveness, I found, and it literally drew me to tears. And I'm going to tell you why it drew me to tears. It drew me to tears because I learned that a lot of what we deal with stems from a very large root of fear. Now, mind you, as I mentioned to you before, our topic is about forgiveness and indecisiveness, right? And in bringing that up and bringing this to light, it's really, really super important that we recognize the importance of fear and how fear cripples us in so many ways, guys. So many ways. And the Bible I read says God wouldn't have us ignorant, right? God don't want you to be ignorant. Baptiste doesn't want you to be ignorant. The villagers don't want you to be ignorant. So we have to make wise choices, and we need each other's help. So when we're indecisive, it's based on what? Afraid of failure. Anybody out there afraid of failure? Afraid of success and the consequences with success, because now you're a role model and you have to live a certain life. Um, it's important how you live your life in front of people who now are depending on you. Um, not so much as society, but more or less community or your business colleagues. They look up to you. If you're affiliated with some other organizations, they're looking at you. What else? It says, and in saying that, we want to be careful not to get caught up in what others think about us too, but it's you can't leave it out. Anybody want to share anything about that part, about being afraid of failure and afraid of success and the consequences of a life you have to live or are expected to live is a better word. Come on, villagers, help me here. I hope you're sharing. I hope you're hitting the likes. I hope you're, what is the other thing? Um, emojis. Okay, I forgot about that part. Come on, guys. Let me know where your heart and your thoughts are. Afraid, indecisiveness stemming from fear, also afraid of failure, also combined with maybe you're dealing with it's slowing you down because you're afraid of the success and what it's going to require of you. That's really what the consequence is what it requires of you. Okay, so Jasmine jumped in here and she says, I have struggled with indecisiveness, especially when I was younger, due to my own insecurities of what people might think of me. So I used to go with the flow of others' opinions. Yep. Um, Indecisiveness is dangerous. Dangerous. I should put some music clips on here sometimes just to keep y'all tickled by that. Just pop in a song or two. But yeah. Um, and in that, Jasmine, I want to ask you, has it also impact your forgiveness of self and how long you might have allowed that to go on in your life, or how long you're still struggling with that in your life? I'm going to give you some time to answer that. While you're working on that answer, you know, I dealt with those same insecurities of, um, I guess you can say it's like, um, we say we don't want to belong, or I don't need to belong, or I don't need to fit in, but that's a part of it. And when you finally realize what you bought into, you start to self inflict with no of a lack of forgiveness of how you got yourself into that frame of mind of thinking that what someone else thinks is far greater than what was important to you to begin with. Let's see. Michael says, I struggle at times with indecisiveness. I think subconsciously because I fear making a mistake or not best decision on something. Exactly. Exactly, Michael. It's there's a cliche, and I hope I get this right, but nothing ventured, nothing gained. We hear it all the time, but we have allowed so many things to cripple us uh, based on judgments from others. And I venture to say this to you: those that you fear might judge, or those you might think will say something about what decision or choice you have made, ask yourself, have they ever taken a risk? Mm, I want you to think about that part. Because a lot of the times, the ones who would say things like that don't take risks. They don't try unless it's a sure thing to them. That's another form of fear. If you don't go out and give it a try, um, you're operating in fear in that capacity, Why? Because you don't trust the instinct. Woo, let me say that again. We don't trust the instinct, the intuitive, the gut that God has given to us to say, I gave you this big idea. I gave you this big decision. Whom shall you fear? Right? So why do we put all of our eggs in someone else's basket to hold when they themselves may even drop it? It's not theirs. They don't have to carry it. It's not their deal. That's how some people treat your what's important to you, right? They don't carry it with the same value that you might carry it because it's not the decision or the instinct or the gut that was given to you. And so you put your trust not in your gut instinct, you put your trust in man. Ah, there's a word for that. If y'all think of it before I do, type it in so that I can share it with the village, because it's really important that we not give so much value to other things. Doing creative chatter, I'm gonna put myself out there because there was a point where um excuse me guys, and there are points and days um, that my confidence level, because of what I allowed to happen to me, I didn't fight for staying as physically fit as I had desired when I started out and I was dancing, and depression hit me, and I dealt with a great deal of depression. Um, because I didn't want my body to transform in this way, and so I I've struggled with the forgiveness of myself, not allowing myself to do better and be better, right? But in that, in all of that, I it was stated something about doing something creative and wanting to do something and encouraging people and empowering and wanting to step out of the box, and that came with, why don't you do something on YouTube? Why don't you do a YouTube live, or why don't you do a Facebook live or something like that? And I thought to myself, no way, no how, not this. And then it was like, so what are you allowing to stop you? And somewhere in my heart, I found courage to step out of the box. I found courage to do something bigger, better, and greater. And so here I am, right? I followed my instincts. Has it all been a cakewalk? No. Have I faced some struggles in this process? Yes. But have I allowed it to stop me even though I wanted to? No. Even though I had thoughts, I'll say not wanted to, thought entered my mind that made me want to. All right. So let me take another look at some things. Give me just a moment here. Uh, who is this? Jasmine shared, well, I dealt with a lot of rejection when I was in grade school. And since children didn't want to be my friend, I thought there's something wrong with me. That has caused me to become insecure with who I am, and has been the root of why I'm so hard on myself and had a problem with accepting me. So, yes, the problem of me not being able to forgive myself stems from this. Wow. So I was like, wow, that's real, real deep. That's deep there, Jazz, because we will not looking at what the other person may have done to us, not looking at something might be wrong with them. We turn it towards us. We make it internal, right? And that came from a series of things. That didn't just begin. That came from a series of events. Hey Amanda, how you doing? Good to see you. That's okay. So it's it's the whole idea of this repetitive dark, I don't want to say it is a dark behavior, but it stemmed from something that you heard a lot of, you carry it a lot because it just never it never seemed to end, right? It could have started in grade school, it could have started in your home. Like maybe the first time you wore something that wasn't favorable to someone else, and so they teased you and they made you feel bad about who you were or how you looked, right? Or maybe your hair. I don't know. There's a ton of things that kind of puts us on this pattern, but there was no correction into embracing who you are. There was no correction in being told you're beautiful just the way you are. You're awesome just the way you are. You're talented. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. Go for the gusto. Don't let anything hold you back. Go school, get knowledge, do whatever. If it's in you, don't let anything stop you. I, I believe it was those sorts of encouragements that helped me as a dancer. When I went into dancing, and dancing became my voice when I didn't know how to speak, right? If I felt some kind of way about the way people treated me, or it became my voice. I used that as my conversation piece. I would find songs that would help me communicate what I was feeling. Let's see what else is being said. Amanda also shares that I think indecisiveness stems from not knowing the outcome, a form of wanting to be in control because of fear and anxiety. Yes, exactly. And indecisiveness is another form of control. Oh my gosh. Let me see. Um, what is it? What did I had so much that I marked down about this, but those who can see great possibilities will suffer with indecision. You can see great possibilities. And I am the first, you know what? I taught the class. I'm the head of the class. I'm not even sitting, I am like I'm I'm not even a teacher's assistant. I am the teacher. Because when it comes to this, let me tell y'all, when I was growing up, my mother was like, because I used to write. Okay, before I started dancing a lot, I would write. I would journal, 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 journal. And my mother would say, you're going to be a writer. You're going to be a journalist. You're going to. I went from doing that to dancing to what kind of business could I do to support my dancing? I'll be a daycare because I love children. I must have had 4 different baby child centers that I wanted to open. I went to, there was this program, um, oh, I can't even think of it right now, where they supported those who wanted to open up their own child care. I think it was child care center is what it was called. But they help you, right? I must have had about 3 of those with names literally going for the gusto. Um, and I mean, but what I want you to hear what I'm saying. I went from this pattern to this pattern to this pattern to this pattern. My cousin and I, we wanted to start, um, what was it? Taking all of our gifts and all of our crafts, and we wanted to start a business that called Crafty Cousins or something like that, because we all had our own crafty abilities. And it was crazy. I mean, business after business after business. You would think by now I would have some serious money based on so many things. But hear what I'm saying is those who can see great possibilities, who suffer from the indecision as to which one of these will do, and am I strong enough, and do I know enough, and ooh, child, we could really have a moment there. That's going to be another kind of conversation, right? But it created fear and anxiety, Amanda, like you said. It to a point that you backed out. Have you started something? Have you started a project? Have you started a business? Have you started anything? Ooh, glory, hallelujah. Have you started something and backed off because of indecisiveness? Because you didn't feel like you had enough people in your corner? Okay. Um, this is one of them times I kind of wished I had Aisha on the screen with me today, because that young lady did something, not waiting for everybody else to jump on board, because it was ingrained in her. The passion of what she saw happening around her became greater than the fear of what the outcome would be. Um, yes, gotta build that confidence. You're right, Amanda. You gotta. Writing became your voice too, Jasmine. Amen. I hear you. Being okay with the gifts that you have instead of comparing your gifts to others and desiring others. And you know what? And you're saying that and sharing that, Amanda, I've always wanted so much for everybody else. Why didn't I want the same thing for myself? Was it the fear of success and the consequences of maybe not being good enough, or not being popular enough, or not marketing myself well enough? You know, I'm sharing these things because this is it's so real, and I don't want to mess up my makeup, y'all. But it's really real, because there were things that, yeah, it's good to have support of others. And sometimes I wished I could have tuned out that voice that kept me from going hard in the paint. I say that a lot because I think about basketball. My son's a basketball player, and I used to support all the basketball players and the boys, but they go hard in the paint. It's in the paint, right at the basket, where everybody's fighting to take the ball. Everybody wants a piece of it. And there's always someone who wants it more. Is there something that you know on the inside of you want more? I want to encourage you today at Cece's table to not let anything, do not let anything stop you. If it's in your gut, go for it. Go, baby. Grow, baby. Do your thing. Okay? Because let no man shut you down and keep you from following your gut that he has put down on the inside of you. All right. Okay. I'm about to preach, so I don't want to do that part. We're here to talk. Okay. She said, that's deep. But it's so deep. It's so deep. And I can't sit at this table and not be included in the struggle, not be included, or pretend like not me, only you, and I just want to hear what you got to say. Yeah, I definitely want to hear what you got to say. I want to hear your struggle. I want someone in our village here to say, you know what, Amanda? I know that there's something that you want to do, some lives that you want to touch in some um in a way that you haven't seen done yet. And I want Amanda to step out into the deep and do that and not be afraid and know that God gave it to you. If it's in your heart, if it's in your mind, you need to go for it. Take the baby steps. Doing this took baby steps. This is not everything that I expected or wanted it to be. There's more that I want for this in Creative Chatter. There's more that I want for Go Baby, Grow Baby. And I'm going to put that out there. That one, I felt like people came and people left. People saw the vision, but it wasn't going fast enough, so they departed. And I thought, God, you gave me this great vision, this to do puppetry and to touch lives, children's lives, adults' lives, people's lives, encouraging them to go after their dreams and their passions and to support those things, whether it was with doing lighting or technical, because why our children were losing funding in schools and they couldn't do their arts. And I just wanted to be a platform. I just wanted that to be a platform. And then I watched God evolve it. And I still want some other great things that build character and teach them to be humble and to be forgiving and to be understanding. And there were so many things. And I would be lying if I didn't tell you I still struggle with the success of that. But I want to see it happen. And I mean, I don't just want to see the tip of it. I don't want to just get to the mountain like Moses and just look over. I want to be down in it. And then if it's God's desire, at least I know I got deep in it and I got to do a great deal to it so that I could send it on, pass the mantle on to the next. Let's see. I want to encourage somebody like my Jasmine's who wants what is it the business, it's Crucifixion Productions. Whole part of her being a part of this is really so that she could launch into the deep and have a resume of things that she's done, that she's doing. This is not about Latisse. It's not about that at all. It's about seeing people healed, wholehearted, uh, fears broken off of them, and walking into purpose and walking into promise and walking with confidence, self-forgiveness, love, and not letting anything block them and walking through their gut. And when people start shooting things down at you, and while you're in the arena fighting for purpose and promise, and people are throwing stuff from the nosebleed sections because they are walking in fear, you can ignore it and you can walk boldly and you can walk proudly, and not the kind of proud that God would frown upon, but the kind of proud that says, I did this because of the God that's in me. Oh yeah, we're gonna have a good time, y'all. It's important. Now, it also said indecisiveness has been classed as a as a personality disorder. Anybody agree with that? Do you see this as what could be a personality disorder? Before I even begin to respond, I'm going to give you all a chance to share some stuff with me, because it's really important that we recognize that. I just want to watch my time, make sure we are in time. Come on. Do you feel like indecisiveness could be a personality disorder? Come on, villagers. Let's chat about it. Let's chat about it. Let's discuss it, shall we? Come on, I want to see your questions. Anybody got any ideals? Come on, what are your questions? What are your questions? What are your questions? Let's chat about it. Questions. Let's have a chat about it. Indecisiveness and forgiveness. Oh, and while you're pondering that thought that I just asked you about, how many have possibly even mistreated someone because of their indecisiveness? Yeah, here I am. And I mean, I don't mean I was like horribly cruel or rude or mean. Well, it still is a form of not being nice, but I would say this. Um, I have a relative who she would go out to dinner. We would go out to dinner. This was before my mom left. While I'm waiting for you all to jump in here, I have a relative who could not make up her mind. We would go to the restaurant, and she would just like, hmm, mm, I don't know. Hmm, could you tell me about? And then she'd go on, and we would be like, dude, figure it out. Have you not figured out what you want to eat yet? We've sat down at the table for 30 minutes or something, and you haven't figured out what you want to eat yet? I don't know. Is this good? What's in that, by the way? And they would go on and on. And I promise you, that would become the topic. And then at a point that you were like, I don't know if I want to spend 30 minutes while this person sits there trying to figure out what they want to eat. Some of us actually go to a restaurant knowing what we want to eat right out the gate, sitting there waiting 30 more minutes after you came in and had a whole glass of water and asking for refills. So someone still hasn't figured it out. But I mean, have you ever done it? Are you guilty like me? I'm asking for forgiveness for that, by the way. All right, so what do we say? Jasmine shares, I don't think it's a personality disorder, but I believe it can hinder your potential growth. Hmm. Anybody else want to share anything on what she shared there? And then it says, that's a good question. And yes, I do. Amanda goes the other way. She swings the pendulum the other way. And she says, I think it is a personality disorder because a person who is indecisive is someone who is lacking confidence in their own thoughts and opinions, and they don't yet trust their own judgment. And you know what? I will take a bit, I will take what Amanda said, and then I will take what Jasmine said at the end of her statement and say, and with all that Amanda said, it will hinder your growth. Because according to psychology today, it is a disorder, one that requires you as an individual to go through forms of therapy that can actually help you rethink, because it's the way you think, and you need to rethink some things. And instead of putting things in this process, you need to know there's another way of thinking and shift it and try it. It's not enough to think a thing. you got to do it. Faith is not something you just think about. Faith is the substance of hope is the substance. Wait a minute. Faith is the substance of things hoped for. But you can hope and hope and hope, but if you don't do nothing in it, you ain't gonna receive it. You gotta be. You gotta practice it. You gotta walk in it. Um, so I agree um, with some of which both of you shared, and they both come together. And according to psychologists, not that they are God, because they're not, but we got to also remember God gives them the ability to research, to look into, to evaluate, and to journal it for our knowledge and for our understanding and for our viewing and for our practice of rethinking, right? Let's see. And believe me, again, I'm so far from, I'm not from these categories whatsoever. I'm so in this. I don't even, it was the reason why I even brought up indecision was because of my cousin's daughter, whose birthday is soon to approach, whose name I will not mention, but her birthday is approaching. And it was asked, so what do you want to do for your birthday? Like she goes, you know what? I don't know. She goes, there's so many ideas, there's so many things out there. And she goes, I'm so indecisive. And I said, well, but why? And this was at the beginning of Creative Chatter when I was already doing discipline. And so in that conversation, as we continued in the conversation, she was given a challenge. And her challenge was till October 15th, unless she had other options. I had given her a choice. I'd given her an option. And I said, unless you get other options, you need to start making plans with this one decision or this one idea that I proposed to you that you seem to really think was great. And so it was October 14th. And I said, so have you made a decision? Anything come up? And she went, wow. She goes, I don't believe you remembered. And I'm like, yeah. How am I going to put a challenge out there and say that I'm not going to, I put an activity out there for you to do, for you to practice, for you to step out in and not hold you accountable? I have to. And so she says, wow. She goes, that was good. She goes, that was really good. I did not expect that. I was like, sorry. I was here I mentioned it to you because I wanted to help you. And so she was really thankful for it, nevertheless. But she was part of the reason why I thought about um, indecisiveness. But then I thought about the pairing of being indecisive and struggling with self forgiveness when I can't make a good decision, when I'm not. And who am I affecting when people are waiting on me to make a decision simple as my birthday and what I want to do, and they lose interest in me because I don't know how to make a decision about what seems to others maybe as simple as a birthday. And so that was so it kind of opened up the door to maybe address the issue. Okay, so it's okay, and Amanda shares, it's okay not to know what you want to eat. Those are tough life decisions. Oh, really, Amanda? Okay. And then, but when it comes to life decisions, yeah, it's the difference between whether I want a burger or a sandwich. Some people might say a burger is a sandwich. It's all about whether you want beef, turkey, or whether you want sliced turkey or steak sandwich, or, so, along those lines. Michael shares, that's deep, Latice. Yes. And indecisiveness actually starts in the garden and attributed to the fall of man into sin. That's right. And it started shame. That's another topic for a different day. But that's where shaming came in. But anyhow, so I'm gonna finish what he has to share. And so he says, in decisiveness has to be relearned as we grow into and learn um, who we're called and meant to be, knowing our true identity. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hands down. And again, thank you, Michael, for sharing that, because um, part of being at this table is saying, who am I? Am I really an indecisive person? Do I want to continue? Do I want to continue on this path, or do I want to find out ways to help me do life better? Can I do life better? Wow. And the answer to that question is yes. And how do I know that? Well, there is, and we're going to come back on this next week, and have even further discussion, deeper discussions about this, because it's a real thing. It's real. Indecisiveness is crippling. And when I thought on, I believe I shared it with Jasmine, and I shared it with Aisha. Um, when I thought about how indecisiveness was linked to fear and control and procrastination, um, there were so many things that it linked to. When I realized the root of all of those was fear, I cried. It was all of 2 days ago. I cried. I cried. Why? Because I realized in that moment that control is a mask. Um, Indecisiveness is a mask. Unforgiveness is a mask. And um, all of these things hold you bound. They bind you up. They keep you sheltered into a room. They keep you sheltered in your thoughts. And your ability and your potential for growth, as Jasmine shared with us, starts to trickle away. And then you look back and you're like, I let it get away. I had the ability, I had a chance to do something great, whether it was in the community, whether it was in the society, whether it was for children, whether it was for something even bigger. I didn't try. I quit when it got hard. I became wishy-washy in my thoughts, and instead, and I became wishy-washy with the thought of getting help to change, to do better. I became wishy-washy because I was afraid. There it is again. I was afraid of what they would think, or um that they'd find out more about me than, and and the shame would come in, and all of these things. And so you'd rather not do it. I'd just rather not. Why put myself through that? Why do all of that? For what? And then you realize, because there was something greater. There's something greater. There's a greater purpose meant for me. And God didn't give me. That's the thing. God never gave me the spirit of fear, but fear came in with a mask called indecisiveness, with a mask called unforgiveness, and a mask called control, and all these different masks that I could go on and on. And actually, I'm going to share some masks next week. We're going to chat about some masks next week. Masks that can be worn that are so subtle. They show up in very subtle ways. You don't even realize how long you were wearing it and why now it's a struggle to break free from it. If anybody's seen the movie Mask, I encourage you to watch it again. Let that be your activity. Watch Mask and see how things change for Jim Carrey. Ooh. I want us to talk about the Mask next week. All right? So everybody, get your DVRs or get your YouTube or get your Netflix or join with somebody. I got Netflix if you all want to come visit with me. If you got Hulu or whatever, if you got the video and you got the DVD, invite somebody to come and watch Mask and think about the different things that can attack you. Smoking. Ooh, who's smoking? And oh yeah. That's one of his lines, Amanda. Yeah, smoking. Uh, I want us to be able to share about that and then give a different perspective. Come from a different form of thinking. Watching the movie The Mask, because little do we know how subtle this is, and then you realize it's not who you are at all. Like Michael said, um, you miss out on who you're meant to be, what you're called to do. Right? We go to school and we take these courses. What are we stopping ourselves from going the extra distance? I had this passion about deaf studies and deaf people, and I became so incredibly passionate about the deaf culture, and I'm still passionate about it. However, I've separated myself from the community of deaf people that now I feel crippled walking into that community and not really having the strength of my sign language as I once had. So you all pray for me as I pray for you. You guys keep me in your thoughts as I keep you in my thoughts. And let's break some things off of ourselves and move forward. Not be indecisive, not hold on to unforgiveness of self because we didn't do what we should have done maybe 5 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, maybe for me longer than that. We won't give those numbers. But let's embrace those things and let's move forward. Let's encourage someone else to move forward. Okay. I'm going to see if there's a creative activity, one activity that we can do. Well, actually, I gave you one. We're going to watch the movie. That's your activity. I want you to maybe post something about masks on the Facebook page. I want us to start sharing some things that will help the next one think about what they are sheltering behind and come out, because we want to see you. I want to see you. People at Cece's table want to meet you. Okay. So for today, we are going to sign off. Thank you so much, villagers. Give yourself a hand. Woo! All you villagers, give yourself a hand, right? For coming into the room and sharing with the team, letting them know where you stand, where your heart is, what you're thinking, and how God is going to change you. Until then, bye-bye. Have a great day. Have a great night. And share this video with someone you love. Bye bye now.